Hello, and thank you for joining in today's webinar. My name is Andrew Murr, and I'm the Resilience Manager for the Resilience Partnership team at Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland. First, I would like to apologise for any inconvenience caused by the changes we've had to make to the webinar format, and I hope that you were able to download and watch today's presentation on community response plans. If you haven't yet been able to, I would thoroughly recommend having a look, as the presentation includes really useful tips and ideas for putting a planning team together and recruiting volunteers. It also covers the importance of carrying out a risk assessment and introduces the Community Emergency Stores incentive. We now want to invite your questions, which you can send using the instant message facility. If you can see a box saying "One New Message," please click Read to open up the dialog box. If you can't see that box, then please click the button on the bottom left of your screen, which has a speech bubble on it. That should also open up the dialog box where you can type and send your questions. If you are having problems with either of these, then you can also send your questions to us by email at emergency.management@leics.gov.uk, but these will be replied to individually later on after the session has finished. The questions we will take, we'll start with 3 that we have already received that I'd like to go through individually. And the first of these is, how many people does it take to write a plan? And the answer to that is, depends on the size of your community, but not too many is the first answer. The best thing is to avoid trying to do things by committee, as that slows everything down. Depending on the size of your community, it could be as few as 1 working as the lead writer, consulting with 2 or 3 other members of the community, or a small group of 3 to 4 in a planning group is probably the ideal, but avoid too large a group. The second question we have had is, can any group do a community response plan, or does it need to be the parish council? The answer to that is that any community-based group can write a community response plan. However, it is important to have the backing, at least of the parish council, to ensure that everyone during a response situation pulls together and works as a whole community and doesn't have small splinter groups in it. This linking with the parish council and having their buy-in means that you have greater access to the wider community publicity opportunities and other comms and routes into the community. The third question we've had before this event is, what kinds of things can I order from the community store schemes? And that again depends totally on your community. Currently, we have 52 suggested items on our list that range from storage and a range of cabinets for securing the equipment you receive, flood protection items, signage, which includes hazard tapes and cones to be used in a flooding event or other type of event. We have temporary repairs equipment such as boarding, nails, hammer. We have tidying up equipment such as brushes, squeegees, shovels and mops to help clear up after and if something has happened. We have personal safety items like high-vis vests, gloves, hard hats that can be issued to people responding to an incident. We have communications equipment such as 2-way radios and kits, and a miscellaneous section that has items such as flashlights, first aid kits, cooking equipment and generators. We also have an ad hoc ability that means that depending on your community and its needs, you can add anything that you think you would be able to use or is ideal for you to use in a response. A copy of the order form can be downloaded from the website on the communities page. Now, looking at other communities or other questions, we have one here. How would our plan fit in with what the emergency services do? Now, the first thing to know is that the plan does not replace the response of the emergency services. It does not support their work in the fact that they will call on you. It is solely to support your community and make your community more resilient in the event of something happening. They are only designed to encourage greater resilience within that community. And this is done by promoting a more widespread knowledge of the local risks that appear in your community and the facilities and support within your community that is available to assist those that may need help. In a widespread emergency, the emergency services will be very stretched and will need to prioritize those that are at greatest risks. If members of your community are classed as part of those at great risk, then the emergency services will obviously attend. Your community plan is aimed at this not at risk to life group, where the support to the community provided by yourselves and put in place by the plan can help lessen the impact on the community and prevent perhaps the situation developing to a stage where in the emergency services support is actually needed. And by doing so, reducing the impact of the event on the emergency services so they can provide a better service to those who still need it. A community response plan is in no way intended to replace the role of the emergency services. I cannot reiterate that enough. And no one involved in the community response should in any way place themselves or others at risk. Moving on to the next question, will we be contacted if there is an emergency in our area? And the answer to that is yes. We ask as part of this system that you provide the phone and email contact details for 3 or 4 nominated contacts within your community. And in the event of an incident, we will contact you if we become aware of it to discuss the response of the community. And we will also encourage you to contact us at LLR Prepared if you become aware of an incident, in case for some reason we have not yet been informed by other means. And that will help us to identify needs and the response within your community. Next question. What happens if something goes wrong or a volunteer gets injured? Are they insured? This is a very important question and one that has cropped up a number of times in our work. It's covered, or the answer is given in full, on the Community Response Plan Toolkit that is available on our website. And whilst we're encouraging communities to be prepared, it is very much a case that the community is doing this work for themselves. It will be a matter of doing what you do safely, but you will need to determine that and what is safe to carry out for yourselves. Therefore, the town or parish council insurance is the appropriate channel for this, and the question should be raised with the parish council. Next question, what situations would see us needing a local plan? Won't the emergency services deal with it? The type of thing we're looking at here is adverse weather of any kind is the primary or most highest risk. So adverse weather that is widespread and causes disruption to road and transport networks. Typically, this would be severe winter storms and flooding. At such times as these events, we experience very high levels of demand on the emergency services, just through the sheer volume of requests for assistance. This is where local assistance to those who need a lower level of support can make an enormous difference. And as we said before, if that level of support is there, it may mean that the police don't need to attend because the support has come from within the community, and this lessens the impact of the event on the police, fire, ambulance services. Are there any questions other than that? No, that is all the questions I have so far. So, while we're waiting to see if any further questions are, let's reiterate key points. It doesn't have to be a huge piece of work. It doesn't have to be a huge job. We at LLR Prepared are here to support you if you need our support and our help in thinking about the forms, going through the forms, preparing the plans, running the exercises for you, and going through content. We are here to support you at every stage and every step of the planning process. This is about communities helping themselves to be more resilient. It is not about replacing the emergency services. It is about being a resilient community. It is not for anyone outside of your community to dictate what is best. We are not trying to do that. You know your patch, you know your residents, you know your communities. We are there to assist if you decide to implement or write a community response plan. There are no other questions coming up, so I'd like to now bring this webinar to a close.